You are listening to the Elwood Panthers Report, the Central Indiana Sports Report's weekly look at the 2025-26 Elwood Panthers. Every week with head coach Ryan VanSkyock, and most weeks with a guest. And this week we have a very special guest. One of the top 5 Elwood Panthers of my lifetime and current assistant coach. Also a very good friend from my childhood. And one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, Trent Hicks, will join me after I go over what's been happening with the Panthers, talk to Coach VanSkyock about Tuesday night's loss against Southern Wells, and look ahead to the schedule with Coach VanSkyock. I will get Trent Hicks's viewpoint on what's going on with this year's team and what it'll take to make the program as good as it was when Trent played for the Panthers. And man, was that team good. Before we get to all of that, I want to tell you about my new daily podcast, Greg and His Friends Talk Sports. Every day, about 15 to 30 minutes, my friends and I talk about what Central Indiana sports fans are talking about. The Pacers, Fever, Colts, IU, Purdue, IndyCar, Butler, Notre Dame, national sports, and of course, high school sports with Elwood and the CIC at the center of it. Again, it's every day, and it can be found on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, Audible. It's pretty much everywhere. Plus, we released a Pacers report on Monday, a Purdue report on Wednesday, and we're supposed to have an IU report every Tuesday, but our IU guys were at the IU game the night that we were supposed to record, and then we're too tired from going to the IU game to do it on Tuesday night, so hoping to record that on Wednesday and have that for you on Thursday. Come join us every day. It is a lot of fun. It was a rough night in Pinedo on Tuesday night as Elwood went to play a game against the Southern Wells Raiders, a team they theoretically should have been competitive with, and left with a 58-48 loss. As you'll hear from Coach VanSkyock and Coach Hicks, it was a performance that had the coaching staff scratching their heads and leaving them with more questions than answers. But there are opportunities ahead. 6 games left in the regular season. 5 of them look very winnable. But that certainly doesn't mean it will be easy, especially if they play like they did on Tuesday night. 3 games in the next 3 days, 2 of them road trips to Indianapolis. It starts on Thursday against GEO Next Generation. The Eagles are 0-9 in just the 3rd full season of varsity basketball for the program. Over near the Indianapolis Fairgrounds. Then on Friday, Blue River Valley comes to town in what should be a really competitive game. The Vikings are 5-11 in their first year under head coach Dallas Dugan. The Vikings have won 3 in a row, though, taking down Union City, Seton Catholic, and Knightstown consecutively. They also have a 56-51 win over Anderson Prep on January 14th. Then on Friday, another trip to Indianapolis to Providence, Cristo, Ray to take on the 9-10 Wolves. The Panthers beat the Wolves 51-38 in Elwood a year ago. So, again, the tone of the conversation with Coach VanSkyock and Coach Hicks, let's just say it wasn't overly positive, but at 7-10, Elwood has a chance to get to 10-10 by the end of the weekend. By the way, Thursday night's game is scheduled for 6 o'clock. The regular season schedule concludes next week with 2 games, both at home, on February 20th against Oak Hill. The Golden Eagles have spent the majority of the season at number 1. They were 15-0 before their first loss of the season on Friday against Homestead, a good 4A program, so needless to say, that'll be quite the test. Then it finishes with Cowan on the 21st. The Blackhawks currently sit at 4-12 and have lost 6 of their last 7. Again, most of those games are winnable. But as we're about to hear from Coach VanSkyock, something's going to have to change. Please stay tuned for Elwood head coach Ryan VanSkyock and assistant coach and Elwood Panthers legend, Trent Hicks. Here back on the Elwood Panthers Report with head coach Ryan VanSkyock and joined by one of my favorite people in the whole world, Trent Hicks, one of my heroes growing up, one of the great all-time Elwood Panthers, and here to give their opinion on what's going on with this year's team. And I'm going to start just a couple of questions with Coach VanSkyock. We've heard your opinion a lot, so we're going to then turn it to Coach Hicks. And tough loss last night. Tell us what went wrong.
I feel like we're just very dysfunctional right now as a team. Basketball is like a roller coaster. There are going to be ups and downs, and right now we're on the way down and staying down. We just got to be able to fight through battles and adversity. And like we told the kids today, we're done screaming at them. We're done getting on them. We do the same thing over and over and over to try to make them better basketball players. It's time for them to step up and do things the right way. And the number one thing to me is if we're going to be successful, they got to be coachable. And they've not been coachable for about 2 years. We go through stretches where they do a good job and then they go back to bad habits. And that was the message today for them was if they could really self-reflect and look themselves in the mirror and say, yeah, I didn't do this right, or yeah, coach is right here, or man, I need to be coachable. Until we can do that and self-reflect and really understand that we need to change, because nobody's perfect. Coaches screw up. Players are going to screw up. But for us, those kids always want to put blame on somebody else. And it's time to step up to the mirror and be like, yeah, I didn't do this right. Coach is right. Or, man, I really let my teammates down. I got to do this better. So that's been our focus today. Will it get any better? I don't know. I hope so, because you wish the best for these kids. But till they truly buy in and understand that, understand to be coachable and to be pushed, we're never going to reach the potential where we have. And, I mean, you look the last couple weeks, we're not even close to what basketball team we could be.
And it's a bunch of seniors.
Yeah, it's a disappointing thing. I mean, we've had the talk for 2 years now, like, it's coming fast. You're not going to have much time to fix this. It's week by week by week by week. Now we're down to 2.5, 3 weeks left, and the end is here. So will they do it? I hope so. I hope they really go home and reflect tonight of, like, things have to change. But I don't know. I mean, I watch us play, and we're just so dysfunctional the last 3 weeks. And we went out last night, and we acted like we could care less to be there. I mean, we didn't play hard. We had no heart. All of our younger kids that came in played much harder than the varsity, and they're going to start tomorrow on varsity. And we're going to make a point is we're going to coach kids that want to do the right thing, that want to play hard. And those older kids are going to have to show us that they really care and want to be here to get their spot back.
And the good news is if they want to, there's an opportunity out there. There are teams on your schedule that are winless, teams that you've beaten in the past, teams you expect to beat, teams in your sectional you know you can beat. So the opportunity's out there.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. It makes me sick every night is you look at what we have and you're like, man, these kids can compete with anybody. But when you don't play as a team and you're not coachable, we look like a glorified AAU team out there that's just not very good. And when that happens, when you're playing organized basketball against really good teams, it shows, and you're never going to win those games. So to me is if the kids could just flip that mentality to be coachable, what could happen? I mean, I truly think amazing things can happen. At the end of the day, those kids are really good kids, but for whatever reason, and they've had this trouble since they started playing basketball, of just listening, they want to blame each other or blame the coaches. We're hoping, and I pray, because there's nothing more than I want for those kids to be successful at the end of the day. It eats at me when all these people talk trash about Elwood or talk trash about our kids or how bad our kids are. Because they're really not. And again, I mean, for me, there's nothing more in the world than I want for our kids to be successful. And we're trying to give them everything that we can. We just hope they start listening.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach Hicks, you were part of one of the best teams of the last, my lifetime. We'll just say my lifetime. And without question, I think the best class of my lifetime. What's missing from, again, a large class like yours was, a bunch of kids who stuck with it? What's missing?
I think looking back at the last couple of games we've just had, from a basketball perspective, I'll start with that. Just a lack of effort and energy. We talked today a lot about, working hard. And that's just not getting up and down the court fast to get in spots, but it's being strong with the basketball. When you're posting up, it's posting up strong. It's setting good screens. It's crashing the boards for rebounds.
Getting on the floor after balls.
Getting on the floor after basketballs. And that's what we're talking about, especially with our top 5 and 6. And we're just not seeing that the way that we want to, or that we know that the way that they can. We've had some games, even when we've lost, where they've done that. But the last couple weeks, it just seems like that hasn't been there. And you're right. Our schedule, especially moving forward, and even the last couple of weeks, they're all winnable games, at least in my head. And so that's giving us the opportunity to get to that 500 season and above for the first time in like 14 years. In terms of, differences, we played a lot of basketball back in the day of just getting up and down the court. So we had to learn each other's games. We had to learn who we're going to set a screen for, who to get the ball to crash the boards, without necessarily a system in place. And I don't see that from this group as much as I want to. Our younger kids, the JV and freshmen, both had wins this week, and it's because of their effort. They just played hard, and that's what got them their wins. We put that group in the last few minutes of the game last night, and there was a difference in the energy. So I think our older kids can continue to learn from that. I liked what we did today at practice to watch last night's game, just to kind of get, hey, this is what really happened 24 hours ago. So let's go home, look in the mirror, and go from there, starting right now and with the 6 games left we have in the regular season, with still the focus on sectional coming up in about 3 weeks.
3 games in the next 4 days. If they don't get it together now, it's going to be ugly.
This is it. This is it for sure. And to go off of what Coach said, we want them to be successful at the end of the day, not just basketball-wise, but in life. Elwood basketball means a lot to me. I've told the kids this story a few times, and again today as a reminder that, and this is not about me, but, my dad was on the last sectional team in 1960. His pictures on the wall for two conference championships, a sectional championship. His pictures on the wall with CIC championship teams as a coach. And even one in the early 2000s, he came back to volunteer coach, just as what I'm doing.
Exactly. So, you know a little about that.
Yeah. So to me, Elwood basketball means a lot personally. If it wasn't for that, if he doesn't go to Purdue and begin his teaching and coaching career, who knows where I would be today, from the things that I've been able to do in my life. And that's not about me. That's just a story to tell the kids of how important this is right now in their life for success when they graduate and go to school or start their working careers. They're going to have effort, energy, attitudes, teamwork every day of their lives. Yeah. So that's the big message at the end of the day. That's what we want to really get out of them at the end of the day. But at the same time, we have hard conversations, but we also want to make sure that they know that they still have an opportunity to get to this winning season, these last 6 games of the year.
And then there's an off season, and I'm not sure that the people around here understand how important that is. You, of course, were a year-round basketball guy, and you lived it and you breathed it, and it showed on the court. And that's it really is an effort game.
It is. It is year-round. Play other sports. Elwood Athletics needs you to play other sports from a population perspective, and that's great. And you're training your body and mind to do different things and have different coaching perspectives and such. So play other sports. But it is year-round. That's what the underclassmen have got to understand moving forward that, if they want to have success next year and build off of what we've done this year so far, it's got to, as soon as the sectional's over, next year starts. And so that's something that I think we have to continue to have and continue to push on them.
And first, second, third, fourth, fifth graders, the time is right now.
It is.
The time is right.
It is right now.
I just interviewed Mickey Hosier. That guy was skilled in first grade, and you can be too.
Yeah, no, you can. And that's just all about fundamentals and learning that basic fundamental, learning to put a ball in your hands for an hour a day or whatever the case is, and then building from there. And then doing it with your teammates. So, again, in the summer, you're learning what the skill set is for everybody and how you can feed off that to truly create a team.
Those summers in the gym were fun, weren't they?
They were fun. Every time I walk into practice, it's winner's court, loser's court. It always goes through my mind because that's
right.
what it was like.
That's right.
And, we had, Steve Hembry come back and play with us. And when Jamie Whetstone graduated, he would come back and play with us. For the first several years out of college, I played at Ball State for a couple of years. So now I'm coming back to play with them at that point in time. So.
And seventh graders were allowed from time to time.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that gives you a perspective of what's happening. We're having some of our eighth graders practice with us right now to get that mindset and to see how Coach V coaches and to start building that culture from them.
There's nothing I want more than this program to be. Look, I said this on the podcast before. The Elwood Panther basketball team was my first favorite team.
Yes, I've heard
before the Pacers, before the Boilermakers, even before Elwood football. Elwood basketball was my life.
Me
Jeff
too.
Cotton was my hero.
I love Jeff.
And that team, they weren't very good. They lost all the time, but when they won, I took pride in it.
Yes.
And I want that back. I did see a couple of kids in the stands watching every play, and that's a good sign.
Yeah, I remember going to pretty much every at least home basketball game from sixth grade on, if not before. And just watching, literally watching from the stands and watching Jeff Cotton and watching Steve Hembry, and then knowing, okay, when I'm a freshman, Jamie's going to be a junior. So when he's a senior, I'll be a sophomore, and I'm going to play with Jamie on the court. That was my mindset.
That means you have to beat out older kids to do it.
Yes. Sophomore year, we started 4 sophomores and Jamie Whetstone. So we were on the way to do that. And but that's okay because we
won
we
game
worked
from
hard.
the CIC championship.
One game, 1985. No kidding, in overtime. Don't remind me.
See, I was a real fan, man.
Yes,
I lived and died. Was that the game that Willis Reed was at? I think it was.
It probably was because I think we still had a couple games after that to go. But he was recruiting Jamie.
How cool is that?
That's pretty cool.
Willis Reed was sitting right there.
That's
man.
a fact. Yes, it is.
That was so cool. I barely watched the game. All I wanted to do was see what Willis Reed was doing.
Right.
Oh, okay. How you been?
Good, doing well. It's been a fun year overall. I really enjoyed the chance to come back and again help the kids, just give them a positive message. I would do anything for any one of these players. I tell them that all the time, whatever that looks like, because I want them just, again, to be successful in life at the end of the day. That's what it's all about, and to use basketball as a way to learn those fundamentals to make sure that happens.
Trent Hicks, thank you so much. Let's do this more often.
You got it, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks so much.
Thanks again to Coach VanSkyock and Coach Hicks for joining the podcast, and for the Elwood Panthers family for making the Central Indiana Sports Report feel welcome. Thank you so much for listening. We could really use your help. Please share this podcast with an Elwood Panthers fan in your life and help us spread the word that the Central Indiana Sports Report is talking about what Central Indiana sports fans are talking about every single day. And of course, it's great to be an Elwood Panther. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.